Hello everyone, welcome back to another market review. So we'll be going over today's trade and this trading day. I took a short position on Nasdaq and it was a small win, which is pretty nice given that I've been on a losing streak. So we'll take this even if it's a smaller win, but overall it was a really solid day in terms of just performance and building good habits. So yeah, I'll get into it. When we go to the news calendar for today, on Tuesday, May 19th, we can see that we have no high impact news today, so I'll just be looking for setups at 9 a.m., 30 minutes prior the first volatility injection. So going from here, when we go to the daily chart, we can see that price really isn't reacting too bullishly to this daily fair value gap. We traded into it, we had a little push higher, but we still kept on, pushing downwards. We closed below the 50% level, and now this was before, or just before equities open. We can see that we're just looking like we're going to invert it. So my eye goes to this daily swing low right here, which is pretty close by, but it also coincides with a weekly fair value gap. So something to keep in mind is that we had here a weekly fair value gap right here. So as you can see, we've had a huge run higher, of course, to all-time high, took out external range liquidity, and now we had the possibility of pulling back into this fair value gap, which is that daily swing low that I have here marked out. So overall, going into today, I am leaning a bit more bearish for the short term at least until we hit the swing low, and then I would reassess what price and SMTs and structure is telling me then. When we go to the intermediate term time frame, we can see that right now we have a previous week low SMT with YM closing below previous week low and NQ and DS not taking out previous week low. The reason why I'm not looking for higher prices as of right now is given my higher time frame narrative that I'm still expecting that dig lower, and then I'd be open to look for higher prices. And also we haven't gotten any strong bullish confirmation on the 6 hour, so I'm still going to be leaning bearish, which is an alignment of what I think the higher time frame is drawing towards. Yeah, so when we go to the 90-minute chart, we see that we have a hidden previous day high SMT. So if you can see here, in terms of candle bodies, YM closed above yesterday's highest up close candle right here. So if you can see, if you turn off the wicks, the candle bodies made a higher high, high, low, higher high. And while on NQ and ES, we didn't make that higher high with the bodies. So that is an SMT in between the candle bodies. So we have a bearish high time frame, a view on the market, and a previous day high SMT. So I would be expecting more bearish price action, and I would want a low time frame bearish SMT to get in on to hopefully take towards that weekly fair value gap. So yeah, that was it. My bias for today is bearish. What would be the invalidation of my bias would be if we take out previous weekly low and create the bullish SMTs on the lows and we get some displacement higher, then that would be a long trade for me. So I had kind of two scenarios going into the day: a short setup into the weekly fair value gap, but if that happened without me, and then we get a previous day low SMT and a previous 90-minute low SMT and displacement, I would consider taking a long setup. So let me go over the short today. So, I know this is a little bit like confusing right now, but bear with me. So, in terms of SMTs, right here, you can see that this is a 5-minute SMT. Nasdaq made a higher high, and ES made a lower high. So that was the previous 5-minute, previous 90-minute high SMT. And something that is also curious is when we go to the volume profile. Yesterday we had a good example of showing how like price tapped into previous day's point of control and got heavily rejected from there. Well, today we also tapped into yesterday's point of control that I had here marked out right here. Right here. So as you can see, this little gray box, I have it marked as yesterday's POC, point of control. So we formed that 5-minute SMT on the highs in yesterday's point of control, and then it got that bearish change in the state of delivery. This is why I entered short right here, and the weekly fair value gap was just right here at 1-to-1 risk to reward, not a lot, but when we go to the 90-minute chart, we can also see we had this swing low over here. This swing low is also this daily swing low right here. So I was that weekly fair value gap and daily swing low right here is the first target where I would probably go break even at. But if we saw, a proper push through price, we could see it perhaps also take out this swing low. So it's just something I was keeping in mind. And that would have been to the final target, a 2.3 risk to reward trade. Anyway, so I took that setup, and it wasn't very nice because the second I took it, we pulled back into heavy drawdown. But if you can see here, we tapped back into yesterday's point of control area and got heavily rejected from it, which is nice. I was also paying attention to this support level. I mean, this is a very clear support level that price has just been bouncing from. And we had a no-wick low on the 5-minute candle. So I was expecting this no-wick low to get filled. And when we had this really nice bearish close, like imagine when we had this close right here, and we closed below that gray box, I brought my stops to break even because it was an area of support that has now been, broken, essentially. So, yeah. And so I stayed in this trade, took it to the weekly fair value gap, and then my plan was simple. I was just going to exit the trade either if we hit the final TP or if we formed a opposing model, which we did. So what the hell did I just do? Okay. So if you can see here, it's a little bit weird, but right at 10:30 we started a new 90-minute cycle, and if you can see here, Nasdaq made a lower low with its candle bodies, and YM made a higher low with its candle bodies, and then we had that change in state delivery higher. So that was my moment to exit the trade. I exited the trade on this candle close, so I secured like 0.92R on the day. Like I said, not a big win, but I really liked how I had a clear game plan going into today, executed without hesitation, brought stops to break even at a good time when we broke the support, and also stayed in the trade long enough until there was an opposing model to tell me to get out. And as you can see, I got out here, and sure enough, we did reverse pretty aggressively to the upside. So yeah, so that's about it for me. As you can see, it was a $662 win, which is nice, and hopefully it will be the start of a comeback, and I can get out of drawdown and get a payout. But you know, one thing at a time, I guess. So yeah, that was the outlook for today. Hope this was insightful. And now moving into tomorrow. Now we know we have tapped into this weekly fair value gap, and curious thing is we still have this previous week low SMT intact, because ES and NQ haven't closed below previous week low, while YM has. So if we see a bullish, change in state delivery here, and price continue to push to the upside, this is a bullish confirmation of that SMT inside that key level, and then I'd look for continued higher prices from here. So yeah, so that's about it. Anyway, good day, good performance, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye bye.